This way, Ruby. Let's read our story. Once upon a time, upon a nest beside a lake, there lived a family of ducks. A mother duck, a father duck, and 5 young ducklings. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 little ducklings. 4 of the ducklings were big and bold and were always rushing off in search of an adventure. Their names were Rufus and Rory, Rosie and Rebecca. But the 5th duckling was small and steady and took things slowly in her own time, and her name was Ruby. It was a bright spring day, and Mother Duck and Father Duck were snoozing in the sun. "Let's go and explore," said Rufus, rushing down, splash, into the water. Rory, Rosie and Rebecca ran straight after him, but Ruby stayed by the nest. "This way, Ruby," they called the others. Ruby didn't want to be left behind, so she swam after them. Ruby caught up with them at the edge of the reed bank. Rufus, Rory, Rosie and Rebecca raced on through a gap in the tall green stems. But Ruby stopped to look around. She saw a small waterfall and that sparkled in the sun, and a great golden fish that glimmered in the depths. Oh, she took her time. "Look," said Ruby, but the others did not stop. "This way, Ruby," they called. Ruby joined the other ducklings in the middle of the reed beds. Rufus, Rory, Rosie and Rebecca rushed off down the winding waterway. But Ruby stopped to look around. She saw the water lilies with their bright purple flowers and the 4 fat frogs that lay lazing on the leaves. Let's see if we can find 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and I can see some butterflies as well. 1, 2. "Look," said Ruby, but the others did not stop. "This way, Ruby," they called. Ruby found the other ducklings at the far side of the reed beds. Rufus, Rory, Rosie and Rebecca ran straight up the grassy banks. But once more, Ruby stopped to look around. She saw the dragonflies that wove along the waterline and the willow tree that bent across the banks. And she saw the big black storm cloud that was sweeping across the sky. "Look," said Ruby, but the others did not stop. "This way, Ruby," they called. Look, there's the big storm cloud over there. Rufus, Rory, Rosie and Rebecca were rambling through the long grass when a flash of lightning lit the sky above them, and a crash of thunder filled the air. "This way," they cried, and they all ran off in different directions and then ran back again. They were lost and they were scared and they wanted to go home, but they didn't know which way to go. Oh, goodness. The ducklings huddled together anxiously as something rustled through the grass. It was Ruby. Ruby was scared too, but she did know which way to go. She spotted the top of the willow tree, sticking up above the long grass. "This way," she called. See, she sees the tree over there, and she knows that that's where they came from. Ruby led the other ducklings down the bank and onto the water. Then she spotted the bright purple flowers floating among the reeds. Ruby arrived at the water lilies and stopped. The water wound off in many directions, and they all looked the same. She could not see which way to go. Oh, but they found the water lilies. "Which way, Ruby, which way?" they cried, the other ducklings, as the big black storm cloud moved across the sun. "Shh," said Ruby. When she swam around slowly until she could just hear it, the gurgling of the waterfall. "This way," she said, following the sound. "Where have you been?" called Father Duck as the ducklings popped out of the reed beds. "We had an adventure," panted Rufus. "And we got lost," gasped Rory. "But Ruby found us," added Rosie, "and brought us home," Rebecca said. "Well done, Ruby," said Mother Duck proudly. But Ruby had already gone. The storm cloud had moved off, but Ruby felt that they'd done enough exploring for one day. It was time to go home. "This way, everyone," she called. And that's the end of the story.